So a regular old cosine curve starts up at 1, comes down to -1, goes back up, and ends at +1 on the positive side. On the negative side, it does the exact same thing. Goes to there. Oops, I missed. I flattened out. Missed. Oh yeah, much better. Okay? So that'd be from 0, that would be pi over 2, that would be negative pi over 2, negative pi, positive pi, negative 3 pi over 2, positive 3 pi over 2, 2 pi, and negative 2 pi. Agree? Okay. And then it goes all the way up to 1 and down to negative. Yes? Yes. Love it. Okay. Now, let's talk inverses. Remember, when we do inverses, we switch the x and the y, which means we switch the x-axis and the y-axis, which means we switch the domain and the range. If we go back up here, the domain here was all real numbers, and the range here was from -1 to +1. Which means down here on the inverse cosine graph, my domain is going to be from -1 to +1, and my range is going to be all reals. Okay. And I would take, so like up here, I started at the point 0, 1, which means on my inverse, I am going to be at the point 1, 0. Up a little bit, make it easier on me. Okay. So I'm going all the way out to 1. I'm going all the way out to -1. The next one that I would get to then is I would be at the point 0, pi over 2, 0, which means I would go to the point 0, pi over 2. Then I would go to the point pi, pi, -1. I'm thinking of sign here. Pi, -1, which means I would go to -1, pi. Three pi over 2, 0 converts into 0, 3 pi over 2. 2 pi, 1 converts into 1, 2 pi. Going the other way, we would have the same mirror image. So our graph we look like that. Now, what's the problem again? We had the same problem yesterday. It's not a function. It doesn't pass our vertical line test. Okay? So we can't just use it as is. Okay? But I need to have all of the domain values work for me. So I need to pick a slot where, or a chunk, where we can go from get all the values from -1 all the way out to +1. And so we have to restrict the range of our cosine. So our domain is still going to stay -1 to +1. But now what I need to do is I need to look at this one and I need to pick the best, nicest, if you will, section of the graph that gives me all the values from -1 to +1. And so what I'm going to do, or what we do, is we pick this section. We're going to take it from here to there, which includes pi/2 and pi. So to make it be a function, we restrict the range from 0 to pi. Which, if I'm looking at my unit circle, is which part of the unit circle? 0 to pi. The top half of the unit circle. Top half of the unit circle. So sine, inverse sine, is right side of the unit circle. Inverse cosine is the top half of the unit circle. Okay? Which is nice because now we don't have to deal with those pesky negative angles. We're all positives all the time. Okay? Let's put it to work. Let's do something. Yesterday I told my classes that when I see the inverse cosine or arc cosine, one of the two, when I see those, what I'm thinking in my brain is where on the, now because it's cosine, top half is cosine equal to the square root 2 over 2. That's what I'm thinking in my brain. I'm looking for, on the top half of the unit circle, I'm basically, in my brain, I'm drawing a line across my unit circle, or I'm using another sheet of paper to cover up the bottom half of the unit circle. So up top, unit circle, where is cosine? Cosine is x or y? X. Where is the x value? Square root 2 over 2. Pi over 4. Do we all agree with pi over 4? Yep, I would agree that this is pi over 4. X value, square root 2 over 2. Positive. Love it. Okay. Top half of the unit circle, where is the cosine equal to 0? Top half unit circle, cosine equal to 0. pi over 2. X value is 0 at pi over 2. What I'd like you to do now is I would like you to do the next 3. Top half, unit circle. Where is the cosine equal to negative 1/2? Agree with 2 pi over 3. I would concur with 2 pi over 3. Top half, unit circle. Where is the cosine equal to negative 1? Pi. Do we agree with pi? I agree with pi. But sometimes pi doesn't agree with me. Cosine, top half, unit circle, negative root 3 over 2. What do you get? Agree with 5 pi over 6. I agree with that. Bonus question. Why is it not possible? The domain is negative 1 to positive 1. Okay? So anything outside of that domain, or outside of that value range, is not possible. Okay? Fantastic. What I have for you today for the remaining time is I have a packet for you that has some extra inverse cosine questions on it, and then explores the inverse tangent function. Okay? And this packet will be due on your 4 mod class period. Okay? So whenever you have your 4 mod class period,